Spoilers ahead for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You guys seen it, you should go watch it. It's really good, and I would highly recommend it. It's one of my top 10 anime of all time, and manga, actually. Anyways, let's get on with the video. Diavolo is one of the main antagonists of the popular manga and anime series JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He's the boss of the Italian mafia group Passion and the father of Trish Yuna. He also possesses the stand ability called King Crimson, which allows him to race time for a few seconds to predict future events. Diavolo is a cunning and ruthless character who will stop at nothing to achieve his goals, even if it means sacrificing his own subordinates. He's also highly paranoid and has frequently changed his identity and appearance to avoid being discovered. He also happens to be one of my favorite villains in the entire series. Now, before we begin, I'd like to give credit to the hulking Chad and absolute grotesque monster that is Kevin, who found this Iceberg chart. Now, grab your popcorn, your sody pops, and a fresh pair of diapers, because we're about to get into some deep doo-doo. Like most Iceberg videos, we'll start from the top and work our way down. The number in the bottom left corner will show a number between 1 and 5. 5 being I absolutely know this, and 1 meaning I'm probably going to guess, because I would have no idea what it would be. Part 1, the tip, King Crimson. King Crimson is a powerful and unique stand that has the ability to erase time for a few seconds to predict future events. This gives Diavolo, the stand's user, the ability to anticipate his opponent's moves and counter them before they happen. In addition to its time manipulating abilities, King Crimson is also able to perform physical attacks and has superhuman strength, speed, and agility. It is also one of the most formidable stands in the series. It plays a central role in the conflict between Diavolo and the protagonist, Giovanna, during the events of Part 5. Emperor Crimson. Emperor Crimson is the localized name of King Crimson. The reason it is localized is because Araki likes to reference music and bands when making his stands, so when they're brought outside of Japan, those are the names used to avoid any copyright issues that may come forth. How does time erase work? During the time erasure, the world appears to transition to a plane that resembles space. As this is happening, everyone is moving how they normally would except for Diavolo. Diavolo can move and react to anything while everyone besides him can't. He can use this ability to avoid attacks, set up ambushes, or make strategic moves without his opponents being able to react. One key thing to note is that Diavolo himself cannot interact with anything in Time Erasure and vice versa. Overall, the Time Erase ability of King Crimson is a key factor in Diavolo's combat strategy, which allows him to outmaneuver and defeat his opponents with ease. Fate. Fate is a very complex and important concept in the world of JoJo. I would highly recommend everyone who's watching this video check out Hamabeat's video on the subject. He made a great video about it, and I would love him so much, and just like, you should just go watch it. It's so good, and he explains it in full detail. He just... Part 2, The Surface. How did Diavolo die? During their final confrontation, Diavolo is barraged by GER and knocked to the Tiber River. He then dies numerous times due to being put in an infinite death loop by GER, and since he is unable to reach the truth, he never truly knows how he dies. In a way, he has died every death that will and has happened. King Crimson's range. King Crimson is a close-range power stand, which means its range is around 2 meters. What I think this entry is referring to is the time erase ability. Since it's time, it would be universal. But if it was universal, you would assume that people around the world would experience the time skip. Maybe that's what deja vu is. Wait. Is Diavolo... Diavolo's substand. Diavolo's substand is Epitaph, which allows him to see 10 seconds into the future. His visions are incomplete, however, and only show the results of what happened. Diavolo uses this ability in conjunction with King Crimson with deadly results. If Diavolo sees a favorable outcome, he time skips to that moment, allowing it to happen. If he sees an unfavorable outcome, he time erases to avoid his fate. Diavolo's blood attack. We have seen in Time Erase, Diavolo can throw blood in his opponent's eyes to blind them. If you think this conflicts with Time Erase, however, just note that when the blood leaves Diavolo, it is counted as an external object and thus is allowed to hit other things. Part 3, Below the Surface. Diavolo's mom. Diavolo's mom is, you guessed it, the mother of Diavolo. I assume this entry is referring to how she was alive underneath the house with her mouth stitched shut. All the while, I mind you, she was alive. Besides that, it could also be mentioning the extremely weird circumstances around Diavolo's birth. Diavolo's third death. Due to the vague nature of this entry, and it being absolutely completely boring, I'm going to give you the quick answer and move on. He got autopsied on. That's it. Moving on. Diavolo's first murder. It can be assumed that his first murders were the 6 people in the village that he burned down. Besides that, it's unknown what his first murder was. King Crimson moving things in Time Erase. It's a highly debated topic within the JoJo community whether or not King Crimson can move things in Time Erase, because all the times outside of Time Erase, we see him move things. However, in Time Erase, he doesn't ever move things. Most likely answer is that Diavolo is fated to move or does those things, so when he erases time, those objects still move accordingly. So if he's fated to pick up a book, but erases time, instead the book will still float up because it's fated to do so. So in conclusion, he can't move and touch things in Time Erase, but things he was fated to move will still move. Who raised Diavolo? The priest in Sardinia, which is Diavolo's mother's hometown. I don't know why it's so low. It's pretty well known. Well, actually, it's not well known. It was like I didn't even know this. Okay, why am I still talking? Who came first, Diavolo or Doppio? Doppio is the alternate personality. Come on. I'm going insane. I'm literally going. Who came first, Diavolo or Doppio? Doppio is the alternate personality of Diavolo, which is meant to hide Diavolo's true personality. Medi came up with an excellent video, which I implore all of you to check out about this theory in question. I'll let you guys go watch him instead, because he explains it entirely better than I could. Actually, Medi, please love me. Part 5, Nearing the Bottom. Diavolo's second substand. I have no idea what this entry is referring to, although it could be in reference that, with all the oddities that surround Diavolo, maybe he has a second substand that could affect things or other wacky abilities. Diavolo's still alive. If Diavolo has and will die every death ever, then it can be assumed that he has a death where he fights Funny Valentine, or fights Dio, or even more crazy, he'll be killed by you when he appears in your room tomorrow. I think that it's referring to that he can be at anywhere and any point in time, since he can and will die every possible death ever, to ever, conundrum, ever. I don't know why I said conundrum, please help. Diavolo's in part 7. I mean, it could be referring to that Italy is a country when part 7 takes place, which is 1890, but that's about all I got. I can't really, I can't think of anything else. Diavolo's true form. Okay, hear me out. Since Dio's name can mean God in Italian, and Diavolo represents the devil, and Dio on top of the stairs represents heaven, and Diavolo at the bottom represents hell, and Dio got a power up by getting Joseph's blood, maybe, just maybe, if Diavolo got Giorno's blood, he could have got a new form and had a 20-second time erasure. Diavolo knows Dio. I think when Diavolo sold Enya the arrows, maybe Enya made some small talk about Dio, and so just maybe Diavolo knows a little bit about Dio. Also in the light novel, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Over Heaven, Dio talks about how Diavolo's such a cool guy, he's got a cool stand, is the best villain. Trust, I would never lie. I would never lie about this. Don't fact check it though. Diavolo isn't human. When Diavolo transforms from Doppio, he visibly gets stronger and his eyes change. Maybe Diavolo is actually the devil and took over Doppio for the funny. Or just, I don't know, maybe Diavolo's just a freak. I mean, that's probably what it is. Diavolo's just a freak. He's a freak! Diavolo is King Crimson. King Crimson only appears when Diavolo is there, and even talks and emotes with him. One could ponder that Diavolo is King Crimson, and like Yo-Yo Ma, talks to its user, which would be Doppio in this case. Part 6. The Bottom. Diavolo's 666th death. In the OVA, Diavolo's Bizarre Adventure, it is shown that Diavolo's 666th death is that he becomes a proud homosexual and settles down with Giorno. After 53 years together, he and Giorno die from stage 4 brain cancer. They both die together in each other's loving embrace. Diavolo's your mom joke in the anime. In the last episode of the anime, Diavolo was supposed to say your mom joke every time instead of King Crimson. However, due to unknown reasons, it was cut. Maybe in a future re-release we could see it in action. Me personally, I would love to see it. I would love to say, Giorno Giovanna, your mom is fat, and then everything fades away and time erase takes hold. Diavolo's lover. Diavolo's lover is named Donatella Una. Donatella met the boss while he was under the alias, I can't pronounce that. Shortly before her death, she went looking for the father to her only daughter, making the boss aware of his daughter's existence and triggering a war between Passion and La Squadra in order to secure the only lead to the boss's identity. Diavolo incest scene. The first 10 people who bought the Diavolo Super Action statue received a tape that contained a spicy scene between Trish and Diavolo. The only reason we even know about this footage is because of a leaker who was able to leak some footage. However, it was scrubbed off the internet, and DP Productions sent their hit squad to take the leaker out. Rest in peace, Heavy Pin. You will be missed. And with that, this concludes the Iceberg for Diavolo. Thanks for sticking around towards the end. Make sure you subscribe so my dopamine can release seeing that number go up. I'm also aiming for 700 quintillion subscribers by the end of the month, so please contribute. Stay frosty. Coldfish shining out. Peace.